pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you. Roll call.
If you guys could turn your mics on for me, please. I have Bill Purcell,
Here.
Chad Enright,
Here.
Kenneth Sebastian,
Here.
Daniel Browning.
Here.
Donna will not be here today. Amy Meyer. Here. Norman Warner will not be here. Bill Folk.
Here.
Alfia Saita.
Here. That does give us a quorum. You have before you the minutes of the meeting of November 18th. Those of you who weren't here, we really just looked at the old ordinances and had proposed changes. Did you take those to the commissioners yet?
No, because we had some questions on some of them.
Okay.
I want to put kind of a group together so we can try to get pieces to them, but not too few pieces at a time.
Okay. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Been moved and seconded, we approve the minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
Okay. I am going to switch on our thing. We've had review of ordinances. We're going to get you guys done, so you don't have to sit here through all this, okay? So I asked that they let us do that. So you'll come forward, and so I think she'll need you to turn on the microphone there.
Just put that button.
Yep. We might have too many on.
Or do we start
Right now.
the hearing now? So I need to read this, okay. At this Plan Commission meeting, there will be one request for rezoning. The requests are typically termed amendments to the zoning map or rezoning. In considering these requests, the Plan Commission shall pay reasonable regard to the comprehensive plan, current conditions, character of the current structures and uses in each district, the most desirable use on which the land in each district is adapted, the conservation of property values through the jurisdiction, responsible development, and growth. Pursuant to IC 36-7-6-604, before a Plan Commission certifies a proposal to the legislative body, the Plan Commission must hold a public hearing. The Plan Commission shall give notice of that hearing by publication under IC 5-3-1. The notice must state the time and place of the hearing and the geographic area that is subject to the zone map change. This notice does not require the identification of any real property by metes and bounds. A description of the proposed change in the zone maps, the place where a copy of the proposal is on file for examination before the hearing, the written objections to the proposal that are filed with the Secretary of the Commission before the hearing will be considered, the oral comments concerning the proposal will be heard. The hearing may be continued from time to time as may be found necessary. Due notice, interested parties. The Plan Commissions also provide for due notice to interested parties at least 10 days before the date set of the hearing. Owners of real property to a depth of 2 ownerships must receive the notice. The hearing must be held by the Plan Commission at the place stated in the notice. The files of the Plan Commission concerning proposals are public records and shall be kept available at the Commission office for inspection by any interested party. The proposal pursuant to IC 36-7-4-605, a proposal to change the zone maps may be certified with a favorable recommendation, an unfavorable recommendation, or no recommendation. The legislative body shall consider the recommendation if the Plan Commission, if any, of the Plan Commission before acting on the proposal. So, tell us what you want to do.
My grandfather's place that my mother owns, and I have the paperwork for that, it's like 11.5 acres. We want to deed off 2 acres to Ella here to put a house in for her and her kids and disabled husband.
Okay.
And my mom will be there to help take care of it. She lives further on. We've got 3, we divided it up into 3 lots. So eventually, me and my wife could move back there onto one of the lots also. There was a 2 acre, a 6 acre, and a little over 5 acre lot and all that. And that is our plan. Get her on the 2 acre lot up front, and then me and the wife will move to the back and help my mother take care of it.
Okay. I want to ask the question.
All right?
Have you checked as far as septic? Is the 2 acres going to be okay for a septic? I would think it would, but,
We have not.
okay. That's pretty good sandy soil in there, believe it or not, on top of that hill.
Yeah.
But,
I know there's like three spots to the east of us. My grandfather's original house to the west of us. I think both of those places were residential, and I just thought I would go straight back.
okay. All the requirements that we had to do as far as advertising, et cetera, have been done. Did you receive any?
I received one objection, complaint, explanation. I forwarded that to you all in an email today. But it was more to do with the potential for the division following the rezone than it was the actual rezone itself.
Who was it from? I didn't see the email.
Came out.
Oh, okay. All right.
With it already, currently as agricultural, is there any agricultural activity being done on the property? Or has
My mom
there been
lets
in recent-
Reynolds down the road come and bale that field that we're talking about
Bale
right
hay.
now. So, but yeah, other than that, she, no, doesn't have any animals, no.
Basically, the only hay field is that 2 acres, isn't it?
Oh, that goes back to about half of the middle lot that I did
Okay.
off.
Any plan commission member have any questions? I would ask if we have any public, but there's no public here, so I think we're okay on that.
And I don't want to develop any more than what I showed on it. And as I say, it's, it would just be a thing for, if we sell our house after we get her in there, we may try to move back there also on the 3rd lot that we do it, divided off.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a,
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the petition as submitted.
Okay.
I'll second that. Very good.
Motion made by Bill and seconded by Daniel. Any discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. You do understand, we're making a recommendation to the
Right.
commissioners. They
Yes.
could say, we're crazy and they won't pass it. So this, you're not home free yet.
No.
Okay. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign. Motion carries 5-6-0. So, thank you.
All right.
That was painless enough.
Yeah.
So I will follow up with you guys as far as getting you through to Sheila to get on the commissioners. We'll have to go back to them again and do the same process to get approval from the commissioners. So I'll get the paperwork we need over to Sheila, get you ready to go into their next meeting that she can get you in, so I don't know when that will be.
All right.
But it should be soon.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we're just looking at mineral resource extraction tonight, is that what?
So you will want to look at agricultural and then planned unit development, which I have, it wasn't to the right of your packets, it was on the left-hand side.
This one. This one.
Get on the same page.
I think it was in the paper clip one,
Okay.
towards the back.
All right, we're looking at agricultural land. I don't know whether some of you are aware. There's been a piece of property sold off of Wesley Chapel Road. And the intent is a commercial, open, free-range, I don't know what it is, free-range.
Hey, Bill, Heather, can you show us what it looks like?
Oh.
The property?
No, I mean the
Oh, what
you're looking for.
Blue at the top.
It's in your packet that says
It's in
agricultural
the paper
land.
clip part.
Had the minutes.
got it. 1555051.
Yes. Okay. So we have going into the county off Wesley Chapel Road, a agricultural operation, which will be free-range laying hens. There will be 20,000 of them. And these people have other farms in other places. Under our current zoning, we have no restrictions against them. My concerns, we talked a little bit this for the meeting about the road. They're coming out on a county road. And you said a semi-load of eggs weighs,
Yeah, so I just, Norm and I were talking just briefly about this because he brought it up at the last meeting, and went into the discussion just between the two of us of weight limits on county roads, and that the weight limit on county roads were higher for agricultural than non-agricultural uses. And so then I went in and I looked up for the state of Indiana, and the state of Indiana, as I recall, defines it as well. Can't remember the exact number I found. I think it was 20,000 pounds. And then I just did a real quick Google search of what a normal semi-load of eggs would weigh, and it was double what that state maximum was. So that was our discussion of coming out on a county road, and specifically that county road, not only being detrimental to the county road itself, but also a health hazard because of, I guess, where the, and I didn't go up and drive by it to see what it looked like, but Norm was saying there's a hill,
Traffic hazard, yeah.
and where it would be coming out and a semi coming out, it could create a health issue from accidents. And so what would be more appropriate and would also fall within the state boundaries would be coming out the other direction to the highway. At least that would be the solution for, you know, the ingress and egress of it. So it seems like there's clear precedent on not coming out on that county road. And that's coming not from anything from us, but from the state requirement, as I recall.
Because if they come out on the highway, then.
Whole different
then
deal.
they're in NDOT's hands and not ours.
Exactly. And the weight limits and all that are totally different.
Right.
because like I say, my first concern was, oh my God, if they're gonna wash that many eggs, the water usage is tremendous. But in talking with the builder who does that, he said, we truck them all to Seymour, where they're going to Rose Acres or where they're gonna be washed, but there's facilities down there to do that. And again, they do have operations in other counties, so this isn't their first rodeo. They were smart enough to know that if they put in 30,000 hens, then you've got the state breathing down your neck as far as size.
What's the address on that property again?
Pardon me?
What was the address on that property?
Can you pull it up for
It's off
us?
of Wesley Chapel,
Yeah.
and you're right on the corner.
Well, it comes up to the highway, I'm not sure.
And I was wondering how much county road
Leslie
they would
Chapel.
actually be traveling. And if they would be willing to bring that road up to spec. Which would really benefit other people on that road.
You were saying the weight limit on travel on county roads was 20,000 pounds?
And that's what I'm trying to look up now for.
That sounds too low to me.
Yeah, that can't be right. My semi's way more than that empty, without
Empty,
the,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, me too.
In the wintertime, there's an 8-ton in freezing and thawing.
Right,
But ag is exempt from that.
Mm.
yeah.
I would think they probably have 53-foot trailers like most of them do, and
Mhm.
the legal weight there is 80,000, so
Right.
that's probably what most of them carry.
Okay, so this is that parcel.
So this here at the bottom is Wesley Chapel.
Yeah. And then over here is 231.
Okay.
They're right at, basically right at the corner.
They've already cut a driveway, but I'm not sure where it is.
I'm not 100%, but I believe their driveway cuts to Leslie Chapel for access.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just where it's at.
Right in this area.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. So you've got,
At least resistance.
I don't know what your measuring device could tell you how many feet along Wesley Chapel they're gonna be traveling. So I think you just blew this map up for us to see.
Yeah, I found it, it's, the 20,000 was based on a single axle, and then it goes up from there depending on how many axles that you've got, to a high of 80,000.
So it's
Feet,
half a mile.
yeah, half a mile.
I mean, those things are in the highway department's hands, not ours, but that's,
Yes and no, because, I mean, you guys are able to set, conditions and things like that for,
but I think the highway department's already issued them a permit.
yes, so at this point, it is up to them to go back and change it.
Okay, this,
Definitely good information for future.
my only fear is when this comes
Right.
in, those people who thought everything about the UDO was wonderful is gonna say, oh, that limit of how many chickens you can have, see, if we'd have had that. But that really was in residential area, so really, but they
Yeah,
still
this
can
is-
convolute it. All right, agricultural land. Permitted uses, field crop, truck crop, animal husbandry, kennels, stables, forestry, veterinarian office, nursery or greenhouse, grazing, public utilities, feed stores excluding the milling or grinding of any feed for commercial purposes. But that's a little odd. Confined feeding operations, fertilizer storage, other uses permitted in the land use table, which we know nothing about the land use table, in estate residential. I think we've thrown everything in there except for the kitchen sink. I'm trying to figure out why they're excluding milling and grinding many feed for commercial purposes. Is there anything else we can add there? Or anything there we want to strike out of it?
Tree farms, is that part of it?
That's forestry.
Forestry, okay.
Are we all clear with that? Let's move to number 2 then.
Sorry,
Go ahead, that's fine.
the land use table that you mentioned, are we gonna see what that is? Because that seems like a,
Well, we can't find it.
So,
We can't find
yeah,
it.
so that's one of the things I've been trying to track down officially. The ordinances say that it's stored in the county clerk's office, and I've talked to the county clerk, they do not have that document there. I've not been able to locate the document that, our ordinances reference a specific table several times that doesn't exist. Some of the examples and the group of stuff shows a couple different ways that a couple different places have done some of those tables. I'd like to put one together for the board to review,
Yeah.
that just, after we get through this initial section, that will give us all the permitted uses that you guys have agreed to along. And then we can break some of those down into one of these types of tables that shows, what's permitted, what can be conditionally permitted, what types of things are, accessory use versus primary use.
Right.
I mean, we can break it down quite a bit from there and and that opens up to some opportunities to say certain things are not permitted, such as the big concerns right now over data centers. You can put in these tables, under data center, there's no use permitted in this county at all, or something like that. So that would eliminate that option. So I think the table is really important. We really need one, but we don't have one.
So if we check with Lorenzo's office,
I've not talked with them.
I think probably that'd be,
Oh,
Place to start.
because they would have
scratch
wrote it.
that. I did talk to the attorney there, and his answer was that they also do not have that. So I've been trying to track it.
Okay. Because it's just strange they would reference something that he didn't prepare.
Yeah.
Is there a
And-
state guideline for anything on that?
For any of these over that we currently have.
Yeah, for
So,
minimum tables.
some things, as far as having one in existence,
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I know if we're referencing one, we should have it.
right.
I'm not
I
sure if
agree.
the state necessarily requires that we have one, as long as we have.
No, I'm just wondering
our
if the
uses.
state has one that we can pick from to create our own.
They may, and that's why I pulled, I think I pulled 2 different counties tables, but nothing specific from the state. They're hard to navigate. They're harder to navigate than county ordinances are. So, but yeah, I've tried to pull at least some things.
Should we maybe consider agritourism as a permitted use of something that's come up a lot lately and there's nothing really that defines
You're right.
what that is?
That's gonna be big business, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that would benefit us, but we've been blindsided by things in the past where nothing's really defined. What is agritourism in Owen County anyway?
So let's add a P, agritourism. We have a lot of that going on now,
Right.
Right.
and some of it just blows my mind that it's going on, that people pay, but
Yeah, you're not kidding.
everything from tea with the goats and yoga with goats and
Christmas at the farm, Halloween at the farm.
Yeah.
there's a guy down at Corden who has Scottish Highland cattle like I have,
Mhm.
and he charges $20 for a 20-minute session where he puts them in a head chute you can brush from. And they're in line
Huh.
every weekend.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, why would you not? Why would you not take advantage of it? You're lining up to pay $20 a pet.
I think P.T. Barnum had it right. So we'll add P, agritourism, to that. And I think the state has a definition for agritourism, as I recall.
So going back quickly to the land use table, since we don't have one, wouldn't it make sense to just get rid of that line until we do have one? Because it doesn't make us look real great if people can cite, like you guys have a thing that doesn't exist in your, because I'm looking at another document that also says that there is a permitted land use table, and it specifically says that it follows, and then there's a big blank spot on the page, which again, just doesn't look super great to have those holes like that.
I think until we get one, that's probably wise. Signs intended to be seen outside the lot lines, non-flashing illuminated on premises are permitted. No more than one 12-foot sign per principal use is permitted.
Foot in what direction?
Yeah.
Is that 12 by 12?
Is that 12 foot high or 12 square feet? That's not very big.
That probably needs to be spelled out a little better.
And you go, what was the intent? If you're on the state highway and Use Your Signs wants to pay you for a billboard that they'll sell advertising, a lot of that going on.
Yep.
So I think for that item B, we're probably gonna need some clarification. Then we go to C and it's like, duh, no sign should project beyond lot line, obstruct the driver's vision, or obstruct any pedestrian path.
Something for, I'm the new guy, so
That's right,
I get to
yeah.
do this, right? You guys can beat me up after class. I know this is the agricultural section, so I'm just raising it as something that I would like to have us discuss going forward in general, not just specifically to this particular issue, but it's the use of illumination. We had an opportunity this summer to go out to Vermont, and they have zoning guidelines and laws in place that don't allow illumination anywhere. So you're driving down the main drag I'm talking like the state capitol, right? Target, Walmart, no lights on their signs. You can actually look up and see the sky at night in the middle of the city. I mean, they really, it changes your, we sat the kids in the middle of the road and went, what's different about this, guys? Like, what is going on here? Why doesn't this look like home? And then we get back here and it's like, you know, bam. We have a huge sky here too, but we don't use it.
We don't see it.
That's it.
Can't see it. Just putting that out there, I mean, if we're allowing it in agricultural, doesn't really seem like there needs to be a need for a farmer to light up the name of his farm with, 100-watt bulbs in the middle of a cornfield. Now, I don't want to start banning everything, I'm just saying, putting it out there that other places do regulate illumination.
If you go through Brown in Nashville, it's against the law to have a colored Christmas light.
Yeah, they have to be white.
Oh, wow, okay, I didn't know about that.
You cannot have any signs other than a real estate sign.
Hmm.
No billboard signs or what are their old grandfather ones, but.
Hmm.
I'm perplexed with this visibility. On a corner lot, nothing shall be erected, placed, planted, or allowed to grow in such a manner as materially impede vision between the height of 2 1/2 story to 10 feet above the center line grade of the intersecting streets, bounded by the street lines, such corner lots, and the lot joining points along said street. So you plant a tree, and whenever it gets 2 1/2 feet, you gotta top it? That's what I read that says.
You go down on some of these side streets trying to pull out on the highway, and you're in a low car, you can't see around, but.
No, I'm talking about the height.
Yeah, the height.
Am I reading that to say that they're, because placed or planted, so it's talking about living things.
Right, but I think they're conditioning it by the last phrase, so you're
Streetlights.
only talking about 50 feet from the point of the intersection.
It can't impede the vision between 2 1/2 feet and 10 feet. So if a tree was there, and just, it would have to be limbed from 2 1/2 feet to 10 feet, so that you can see through that area. Because if you're sitting in a small car or sitting in a
Okay.
semi,
Okay.
you'd have to be able to see through there.
So a question came to my mind after you guys were talking about this. How many intersections do you drive around the county where that's actually taking place? My question being is, having that in there sets up legal liability for the county. By having that in there's a requirement, they need to do that. So it might be prudent on our part to just totally remove it, because I don't see that happening in the county, in reality.
Yeah, you got an old farm fence running right up against with weeds growing in it.
Yep,
And
exactly.
that's impeding from 2 1/2 feet up.
Yeah.
Would that fall back on the county or a property owner to fix that though?
Both.
Probably both. How's it read here?
All lawsuits involve the theory of the deepest pocket, so the county and the individual,
Both will be sued, yeah.
both would be sued.
Also, this is all likely to happen within the right of way, so.
Yeah.
And I guess regardless, what's the probability of having an enforcement arm that would go out and make the property owner do this?
Slim to none.
Right.
I was trying to think of a nice way to say it. I was some other things that was coming to my mind, but
So I-
something to do with
yeah.
snowballs.
So I think I would recommend, since it's an impossibility, that we would just remove that.
And again, these are recommendations to the commissioners, but everybody okay with scratching item 4?
Yeah.
3.
3, I'm sorry, 3.
I mean, along those lines, number 4 is also really asking for the same treatment.
Yeah.
Because who's gonna enforce that? Also seems really unnecessary.
Well, I mean, if somebody built a wall and there's an accident there because of it, then they can fall back on this, even if nobody enforces it.
Right.
If there's an issue that were to come of it, well, it's in the ordinances that you can't do that. But,
That doesn't create the same legal liability as number 3 for the county.
So are you suggesting we strike 4 also?
I don't think so, because Chad, if I'm going down the same line as what you were, that this one, although it wouldn't be enforceable on our part, it does create an onus on the landowner
all right.
that is probably appropriate to have in here.
I think so.
Is everyone reading
Yeah,
it the same
other one
way?
was just specifically corner lots, where this
Right.
was, this is pretty well anything.
And this is something that's actually being constructed by the landowner
Right.
Not just
versus the
over
other
the
one
road.
isn't.
Or
Yeah.
plain, yeah.
Okay. Move on to 5, permitted accessory uses and structures. What's the difference between a roadside stand and a truck farm market?
I don't know, what is a
Yeah,
truck
roadside
farm
stand,
market?
you could have.
Well, I
more-
mean,
you
Got
could
your
probably
pickup
have more
there
than
with the
just truck.
tailgate
Yeah,
down.
I mean, I've seen that, I guess that makes sense.
what's that?
Heather's gonna let us know.
I'm gonna try.
I've seen that actually, the guy comes to the Gosport Farmers Market and had his pickup truck loaded with watermelon some days.
But I mean, that's no different than a roadside stand or a truck farm. I mean, I don't see where distinguish the difference.
Roadside stand, I guess you could consider it a permanent structure versus a truck that you're gonna,
Yeah.
Okay.
Sell them from a stand or sell them from a truck.
I think with a truck farm, it is limited to fresh produce, fresh vegetables, things like that, whereas like a roadside stand could be different. They could have, baked goods or
Homemade sandwich.
homemade goods, so it falls under a different category because it's repurposed type things.
Okay. Anything else under permitted accessory uses and structures? Developmental standards. Boy, number 9, you could have a heyday with, couldn't you?
yeah. That goes to the enforcement, which we've talked about since I've been on this planning commission.
Nine's one we're not enforcing.
Yeah. You get complaints about stuff like this, Heather, I know.
Yes, all the time.
Heather, what's the enforcement process on that item?
So if someone will issue under this, they'll come to me with a complaint, and then I will send the inspector out, so he'll do his own investigation. He takes pictures, he'll come back, create a report, and then give that to me. And then if it falls under something, which most often it does, that is worth going after, that something that does fall under this, then I send a letter to the property owner informing them of which part of the code they're violating and what the remedy is there, which is typically a fine, until the situation is resolved. More often than not, those letters get ignored. And after that, those fines increase from there. If they don't take care of the problem, then they continue getting fined. But we currently really need an ordinance that allows those fines to be attached to their property taxes, so that there is more teeth behind it. Because right now it's just, if they come in to get a building permit for something in the future, then I can attach the fee to the permit cost, but that's really about the extent of it, unless we have a lawyer take us into court to go after them directly that way, which we have done. We have one we've been working on now that is in the court systems, but it's just more limited that way because we have a very large amount of properties that need this attention, and the lawyer can only really do one at a time.
So there's a lot in what you just said, so let me try to dissect that a little bit. So there's really nothing in unless it raises to a certain level. The ordinance piece of being able to attach it to property taxes, who would create that ordinance? Is it this body? Is it some other body?
You can make a recommendation to the commissioners that they create an ordinance. Our county council would have to write that ordinance and submit it to them for approval. But you guys could definitely make that recommendation.
Okay. So that seems material, but it also seems harsh to say if it's one automobile, if it's one, I mean, it seems like there needs to be more definition on what is an eyesore.
So with, the county actually has a separate code specifically related to junk vehicles and trash as an own ordinance. And it defines as 2 or more inoperable junk vehicles on the property. And it does closer define trash. I can pull it up here.
In your opinion, is it sufficient as written?
Yeah,
It's
I think
manageable.
so. As long as we had a way to follow through with, I think that's where it falls. I think the ordinance is good. It's just the follow through that needs work.
Okay. And I guess maybe my last question, and I apologize for asking so many,
You're
but
okay.
since there's so many out there, there's probably a lot out there that doesn't rise to the point of where it's worthwhile for having an attorney to go after. Would there be a database and a big enough pool where those could be aggregated together and then sold to a collection agency?
Potentially, if there is the opportunity for, I think I understand what you're asking me, for the county to take over those properties if they're not taken
No,
over?
not so much that, but if there's a fine, there's a legally recorded fine, that has a monetary value.
Yeah,
although
okay,
Although
yes.
it being small. But if you could aggregate those together, there are collection agencies that have on-staff attorneys that might pay 25 cents on the dollar for that, relieving that from us, creating a little bit of revenue, but also putting an enforcement action behind that.
Yes, I think there's probably more than enough in the county. If I could really put them in a list together that would create something like that, need something like that, we could do that.
Yeah, I mean, that might be worth exploring.
But if the building department had the right to put that as a lien on the property tax.
But I thought she said they don't right now.
We don't right now, but
Right.
I'm saying you could change an ordinance.
Which would
to
be
do
great,
that.
yeah.
As someone who may or may not have a couple of less than sightly vehicles on his property, I would say that this reads a little vague to me. I mean, junk is clearly in the eye of the beholder. I mean, I have a classic Mercury sitting next to my garage, ready for restoration. You know, it could be worth 60 grand, not right now, but it could be.
And it's sat there for 25 years.
You know, I mean, it could, right? It could. I don't,
And
it
that's
seems,
where.
sorry.
Oh, no, you're okay. I think-
As a county that allows, like, you know, open trash burning, this seems a little bit highbrow that we're gonna go enforce this particular threshold. I mean, I think I'm sure you've seen your fair share of, like, you know, neighbors who are complaining about things that are really not worth the complaint, and then other ones that are clearly, like, someone who has an actual junkyard in their house.
Yeah.
That's a different story, so maybe a little bit of fine tuning of the language here that would be worthwhile pursuing.
And I think potentially where you guys have talked, you know, the last couple meetings we had, and you've changed some language or wants to change some language to something being reviewed on a case-by-case basis. I think this is another really good opportunity for that, for the inspector to decide on a case-by-case basis, because some things are situational, and some things you can look at and say, well, I understand why they have 3 vehicles sitting here. Obviously, this or that's going on. I think
Right.
everything is
Yeah,
situational.
you've got one that you're restoring, and you've got 2 sitting there for parts that you're building up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
And
Strip it
does-
down.
Yeah, and does it
Yeah.
create an eyesore from the road,
right.
you know? And what's the definition of an eyesore?
How far would we go with this? Are we just gonna talk vehicles or, you know, I got a lot of farm equipment around, I got to run old equipment. I bought like 3
Yeah.
combines for parts, so.
Right,
Because some of those parts you can't buy them anymore, I
find
got
them.
30-year-old machines.
exactly.
And you're gonna stick all those combines inside of a
Yeah.
building or structure, you're gonna need a big barn.
Yeah.
Or the building debris. I mean, I had to have my metal roof replaced.
Get your building
in
permit.
my house, and that old metal is still there. I kept
Sorry.
it.
And
I plan on using it.
the other thing that I think is worth referencing in regard to this is that we're not talking about a small suburban lot. These are 5-acre
Right.
properties or more, right? So,
Right.
I mean, you ought to have a little bit of a corner somewhere.
Yeah,
But I
this is
think-
the agricultural side.
Yeah, and I think that could go to the setback piece, so it doesn't, you know, there's a certain setback for something like that, so it doesn't create an eyesore.
What does anybody think about adding something along the lines of visibility from the roadway, you know? Have 50 cars back there, but your neighbor driving down the road, we don't want to
Don't
see
see
it,
it.
necessarily need to see it.
Mhm.
Care less how many
Mhm.
vehicles you got, but
Mhm. It
I don't know.
sounds like further investigation, because it seems like something that might have legs, but need to think through kind of, to Mr. Sebastian's statement about farm equipment. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you know, 7 junk cars within 50 feet of a roadway and other sorts of debris scattered all over the place. There's a huge spectrum in there. And I'm betting there's another county that's addressed this before.
And, well, then you could also specifically exclude farm equipment. When you're in an agricultural district, you're going to have farm equipment sitting around, some of it inoperable, that is just the reality of it. So, I mean, that being said, you could say excluding farm equipment specifically, and
Can we include specific truck models in that?
What year was your Mercury?
I was working on a job a couple of months back, and I think they have every car they ever owned still on the property.
Yeah.
But it's half a mile off the road before you can see any of that stuff. Nobody
Right.
knows any of that stuff back there unless they're on their property, so.
No harm, no foul.
Exactly.
Right,
I mean, yeah,
exactly.
Right.
So, case by case, and also change the verbiage for like farm equipment? Is that what we're?
How-
Exclude farm equipment. Can we investigate, because I thought this went on your taxes.
I did too.
it's not.
So that would be a simple fix, I
Yeah,
would think.
I agree.
I'm not an attorney. I even played one on TV, but, and I didn't say it all day in Express.
take a shot at writing this one again for the next meeting. Can send it to you and you can forward it to them or beforehand so you can read it, because I'm sure it's easy to find, like you said, ordinances in other counties that are a little bit more appropriate for our setting than this.
Something that's not so vague.
Yeah. And it sounds like you've got something that you're using today that might be worthwhile for us to see, so we can know how it's being enforced today.
And there's the difference between residential areas
Yep.
and agricultural areas.
Right.
Because I think the one we really use currently is more, I mean, it's just standard county-wide
Mhm.
ordinance versus specific to certain areas.
Mhm.
So it is still, it's very similar to this, but I do have something I can bring back to
Yeah.
you or send out to you afterwards.
Yeah, because then you'd always have in there, the negative action is always going to be held by the inspector who's going to go out and actually look at it. And most likely probably talk with the landowner to say, okay, can you move this to where it's not as unsightly, if it is unsightly?
And that's all in the eye of the beholder. too,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
Those pigs smell good. Yeah, let's revisit that. The minimum parcel size for all use in agriculture districts shall be 5 acres. So we can look to Greene County, which has some 3-acre tracts that have turkey barns on them.
Mm.
Yeah, you probably need a little more land on a turkey barn
Well, you don't, I mean,
for smell. But
with that high water point, I know of places where there's a lot of violations of that. Dams are right up on the property line.
yeah, I'd love to put a pond in, that's what I'm gonna have to watch. Is where I wanna put it. Pushing it.
Are we done with agriculture, guys?
I believe so.
Heather, do you have the setback requirements of that ordinance cited here, 13-1-5.7-1? I think you had it up before.
I was trying to find that for you.
Repeal 13-1.
looks to me like that's all been repealed.
Yeah, Josh.
Is there a new section for setbacks there then?
Did you search that for looking something about confined feeding operation law?
Chapter 13 said feeder cages.
So maybe in here.
This right here says it has been repealed and recodified.
I'm wondering, I tried to look it up on the state of Indiana, and I'm wondering if it would be worthwhile to change this to following Indiana ordinance, the state of Indiana ordinance. Because here's what it says: Indiana's confined feeding ordinance setbacks aren't simple, single rule. They're complex, varying by local ordinance like county zoning, and requiring specific distances from homes, public wells, water bodies, all managed under IDEM, requiring permits and adherence to state rules, and it calls out the state rule, which is, and what was ours, because this was 13/18/10, for things like manure management with larger operations, and CAFOs facing stricter federal rules too. You need to check both with state as well as local guidance. So it sounds like it's big and varying and complex. So it might be more appropriate, instead of, if it's this hard to find what we're supposed to do, we're not doing anything. So why don't we just say that we follow state of Indiana guidelines rather than trying to create our own, because it seems like it's going to be pretty comprehensive.
13/18/10, you said?
Requiring permit, state rules. I think that only hits a part of it. Let me read it again. change under item requiring permits and adherence to state. Oh, yeah, it does. I think it
That's
does.
the AI summary that I grabbed too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's not state text, that's just a summary of all the
Yeah,
stuff.
it's just a
out
summary of all the stuff.
Let's say it varies, like chickens is 30,000,
Right.
hogs are I wanna say 600.
Here's for confined feeding, it says part of the former IC code
Yeah.
was listed, was recodified as Indiana Code 13-11-2-39, defining confined feeding in context of livestock sales.
There was out here behind Lane's Edition,
Mhm.
Dr. Baker built a
Mhm.
big hog barn.
Mm-hmm.
And I sold the house back in there that was back, and the leaves were all on, and that barn was built,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody knew
Knew
it.
about it.
And the guy buying it was an engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and we get ready to close, and he said, wait a minute, what's that building?
Mm-hmm.
And hog confinement. And I said, well, the good thing is, was a 700 sow farrow to finish building. The state manages that.
Manages that,
If
yeah.
he'd have went 500,
Yeah.
nobody, so I said, now to satisfy him, I drove all over Indiana and found hog systems like that, and
Uh-huh.
we smelt the air. You know, was it
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
adversely affect their quality of life? But the only time you ever smelled them was whenever they pumped the,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is like twice.
Yeah,
a year.
it says here, I read down a little farther, it says, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, IDEM, is the main agency providing guidance on permits and regulations. So it sounds like they're probably the department that handles all of that. Yeah, and it goes further into say exactly what you just said, Bill. It breaks down the different types of animals.
Different species.
Mhm.
Maybe it should read, operations must conform to IDEM specifications
Mhm.
rather than Indiana code.
Yeah.
We ready to go to PUDs? So let me ask the question a real estate agent would ask. Do you know what a PUD is?
Planned urban development.
Yeah, but what physically is it?
It's a subdivision.
No, it's not.
Hmm.
The houses down here in,
Down on the straightaway is what
Yeah.
you're talking about? Yeah.
if you own a condominium,
Mhm.
you own the airspace within the house.
Mhm.
Once you leave the paint on the walls, it's yours,
Mhm.
okay? In a PUD, you own the ground underneath your house,
Mhm.
but your yard is public.
We call those site condos.
But that's.
That's what we're talking about?
So people call them condominiums, but they are not condominiums because condominiums, you just own from the basement floor or the floor to the ceiling. But in these, you own the ground underneath it. But once you step out of the house, then that is commons areas for the homeowners association. So we do have PUDs in the county. Like I say, but most people say, those condominiums. Not.
So here's a question for you, Bill. With that being said, is item E says PUDs shall be allowed on any land within the county if approved. The way you define that, that tells me it's pretty high density.
Yes.
Should that also have in there on any land, let me see here, land within the county, if approved and connected to water and sewer because of the density? So I don't know how you would create a, or want to do a well and
Right.
septic system.
I believe the houses across from Cornish Creek State Park are
Mhm.
PUDs,
Hmm.
I believe. Now, but they do have a small sewer system.
Mhm.
It's not working, but they have a small sewer system. Just like the school has a small sewer system, it's not working, but, and then there's a place here that on down must comprise at least 10 acres.
Mhm.
I mean, right now, city water is pretty prevalent. In most areas, you're gonna see those.
Right.
I think one of these days, we're gonna have to start addressing water.
Mhm.
BZA already is.
Mhm.
But I understand you can live longer without
Yep.
food than you can without water.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea, adding that to the bill.
Yeah, I mean, it could also say, or a septic system approved by the commission, something like that, but.
Well, it keeps planning commission or the BZA, however, from having to deal with something that's,
Mhm.
shouldn't
Yeah,
be considered for a PUD because they don't have the,
yeah, it really shouldn't. There's too much density.
Where would you want that added, Bill?
Just on the end of E, PUDs
End
will
of
be
E.
allowed on any land in the county if connection is available to a public sewer and water system. And you wanted to, you could always put, and exceptions could be considered on a case-by-case basis if someone
What's
wants.
that, it says flexibility may be allowed for verbiage. Is it, is that, I'm looking down the bottom. And the standards, flexibility may
What did you say about water?
Public water and
Public
sewer
water.
system.
So do we call Patrick's Bean Blossom a public water? Because it's a private, I mean, it's Eastern Green County Water, Cataract Water, they're all privately owned.
municipal water supply.
Municipal
Well,
water.
municipal's implying the city owns it.
Yeah.
right.
Corporate,
Corporate, thank you.
yeah, corporate.
Anything but a well.
So must connect to corporate utilities, sewer and water.
Yeah.
Mhm. And you could have municipal, corporate,
Yeah.
whatever.
And down here, in that bottom one, it may cover a lot of that though. In here to outline in respective chapters.
I see plan board here, isn't that something that we've ran into before, that
Plan commission
APC?
down at the bottom.
Where you at? Here at the bottom.
Yeah, E. It's just planning board, make it planning commission.
Seems like it's a pretty steep drop off in terms of requirements if you're wanting to do a planned office development versus a planned residential or.
Yeah, I
Like,
kind of,
10 to 2 seems really. Especially when 10% of it's supposed to be dedicated to open space. Take 10%, you take out 10% of 2 acres, you set that aside, and then, like, what's left?
and does that 10% include the setbacks and?
Right. Maybe, I don't know, 10, 5?
That's what I was thinking, 5.
5 is more reasonable, especially with parking lots
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything else that you need. And he also has a mention of the plan board again.
And if you got office development, or like where the relics is down there, well, that's not no 2 acres,
Where what is?
like relics, where little lights stuff, is. That's not 2 acres, that's office space. has
That's
parking.
inside the city though. so
Yeah,
it's-
but, I mean, use that as an example.
I'm kind of trying to think through that as well. I'm thinking, let's say a doctor and a dentist want to go together and build an office building.
Yeah,
That's
so they
really
need 5
two
acres.
storefronts, and they need, maybe 10 parking spaces between the two of them. It seems like maybe there's a carve-out that would say, for smaller office building,
Well, I think that's where you got office development, commercial development.
yeah, it's really the office building one,
Yeah.
because obviously if you're talking industrial and commercial, that gets
You're
into.
gonna need more space.
Yeah, you're
But
gonna need more
office, I
space.
don't think-
But the office, you could do a carve-out for smaller stuff that's on a case-by-case basis.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, what's the typical type of
Yeah.
office building we would have in the county? It's gonna be probably a professional building of some
Picture the
sort,
doctor's office next to
Yeah.
Save a Lot there, it's
Mhm.
not,
something like that.
that's probably around 2 acres maybe.
You could either say case-by-case or just a carve-out for professional office building could be considered for lesser site size.
Keeps referring to a point system. Now, years ago, we had a point system, but that all was scrapped, so I don't know where this is some holdover. Point system that we had was probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen us do, and believe me, I've seen some dumb things. But if you bought your materials locally,
Oh, you told me, somebody
you
told
got
me
so
about
many
that.
points, and if you hired a local contractor, you got so many. So you could build a piece of junk if you bought the materials here.
Well,
I mean, you scored enough points by buying local, hiring local.
yeah,
That wasn't
that doesn't work.
well thought.
No.
Was the original jail or our current jail built during that time frame?
No, but I'm gonna tell you, the current jail has the same problem the old jail. We're not maintaining it. We're putting Band-Aids every time there's something.
Mm.
Yep,
So then in 20 years, we'd say, we gotta build another one.
Mm.
yep. I
Yeah.
know. I've done the maintenance in it.
I've heard them say that. By the time it's paid for, we'll need to build another one.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
First thing we're gonna do is pass an ordinance that says nobody gets a nameplate on a building.
Yeah.
Like that.
Because there's a lot of egos in this stuff.
That's money that can be cut out.
So that point system it's referring to, I think that is what that connects to, is the old point system.
Yeah.
It used to help you.
And that was done away with long time ago. So we'd scratch that D, PUDs will be evaluated through point systems.
For any
All right,
provision.
good Lord, and then it goes on to the next line.
Point system, since it's not.
That whole D needs
I
to
didn't
be,
know what it was, I was like,
it's all referencing that. Do I have anything else?
On this?
Yeah, this is all we got for tonight.
If I could recircle back around to one thing.
Sure.
We talked about earlier, which was weight limits. I'm assuming that's the highway department, so we don't really have any say over that. But as we're working through this, I was reading deeper. The 80,000 weight limit is a maximum established by the state. And it does say the county and local can do something totally different that's more restrictive
Right.
based on their roadways. And it was talking about permitting. And so, because this is an agricultural county, I don't think anyone has a problem, with a big tractor driving down the road. Because that's part of this county, and it's part of, I don't ever think of tractors, farm equipment destroying the roadways, because they're not on them as frequent as like a semi-truck might be. But you can call out permitting, which would be a revenue generator for those types of activities that really do destroy the roadway. So if you put a lesser weight requirement on county roads, and then let's say you could define, like a farmer could come in and say, okay, I need a $5 permit per year for my tractors to go down the road. It's not offensive to something we want to support. But if you have, an 80,000-pound semi going up and down the road every single day, that will absolutely destroy that road. And a permitting fee for something like that should be assessed, because they're using more of the county's resources by destroying that road than most of the people that live here. So that would be a revenue generator. It would also address some of the issues we talked about today. That might be worthwhile bringing up to the highway department, because it would be really easy to do.
That would come to the commissioners, of course. I just remember in the wintertime, we normally put an 8-ton load limit.
Yeah, because of the frost
But-
issue.
But agriculture is exempt. And I remember they re-blacktopped Freeman Road, not the last time, the time before. And one of the commissioners had semis in there pulling out timber.
Mm.
He said, what's an agricultural product?
Mhm.
What semi would be on a county road that's not hauling agriculture?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
so what's the point? I
Mhm.
mean, because to me, that big semi hauling those logs up and down that brand new road tore it up, so it had to be redone again.
Yep. Mhm. And it could, I'm assuming it could even be done on a frequency basis.
Right.
If it's like, for your example of a logging, that's a temporary thing that's going to occur for a few months, versus if you've got a manufacturing plant that's going to be doing on a daily basis for the next 20 years. Those are two different fee structures for different permits.
Well,
I
it-
can say personally, I live at a dead-end road at a sawmill, and that sawmill's consistent business activity does tear up the roads.
Yeah.
It does.
And the thing is, where do you start drawing the lines? I mean, again, logs is an agricultural product. Yeah. But we can't seem to, we don't want to go to the extreme of Monroe County.
Right.
Monroe County, you buy timber in Monroe County, you've got to post bond on the roads. You've got to email or notify every landowner so many pieces around there. And it's all got to be sent certified mail, and you know how much that's going to cost you, start.
Yes.
And actually, I've been monitoring for several years, timber, if you have a given piece of timber in Owen County and that same timber in Monroe County, the Owen County timber is worth 10 to 20% more.
Right.
Because there are fewer timber companies that will go into Monroe County.
Correct.
So whenever you go to sell your logs, you have a lesser people bidding, and there's more expenses.
Yeah.
Plus, you have a higher threat of eco-terrorism,
Right.
gas and sugar and gas tanks and
I mean,
spine trees.
yeah, I just, since I've been attending meetings, I've heard the fact that the county has no money, and especially no money for roads. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of what's being allowed on the
And we were
roads.
denied the community crossing grant this
Yeah,
year. so-
the majority of the community would support better roads. And so those entities that are using excess resources by destroying the roads, that's what a permitting structure is for.
Right.
And that's something, I know it's not our body, but that's something that would be worthwhile for the highway department to figure out, because I don't think it'd be that tough.
I don't want to buy permits for all my tractors and all my
I
trucks.
think it would be individual, like you have a farming enterprise.
Mhm.
So you have one $5 permit for your farming enterprise. Now, for a semi, you know, how many trucks are you gonna have going in and out of there on a daily basis? For example, if you've got one time a year, you've got a couple semis coming in to take your corn harvest, okay, that might be grandfathered into your $5 permitting. But here again, if you've got a timber company that's coming out of a sawmill every single day, I mean, every single day, multiple times a day with multiple trucks, I mean, that sawmill buys a permit. It's not on every individual unit, but they buy a permit because of their usage on the road. So I think it can be simplified, and I think the majority of the county would support that. I mean, there's going to be people that wouldn't, but it helps to address the money issue of the county, specifically around the road issue within the county.
I did hear today, we did find $1 million for roads.
You did what?
The county found $1 million.
How did you find that?
I'm not sure how that was found, but I think the state was trying to say you can't have this, and the state doesn't have the right
To say that? Gotcha.
Yeah, we've got another
If I heard
council
that.
meeting Friday night to finalize the budget.
Mhm.
My concern is this Hoosier Crossing, which we got last year, we never did what we said we were gonna do with that money.
But that money's still a lot of, for those projects. That's not taken away from us, but we got denied.
Well, I'll tell you
Next
what,
year's
trying to keep snow,
uh,
and whenever you fall off in front of my house, off the blacktop 4 inches, I broke one spindle on a tractor trying to mow the roadside.
Mhm.
They're supposed to come in there and lay
Mhm.
limestone down through all that and tapered that off, but that's more important than a stripe down the middle of it. You know, make it passable and usable, and decorate it later.
Yeah.
That's just,
So anyway, I know that's not a topic for this group. I'm just bringing it up because being new to the group, I see opportunities that the county's missing.
right.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're dealing with something similar to that with BGA right now, where, you know, county's tearing the road up, but getting, $2,000 a year in taxes out of this company.
Yeah.
They were paying 300 a year.
I couldn't-
So that's
it was-
the missing opportunity
Yeah,
there.
it
It's
was
not the
insane.
$5 permit, it's actually getting them to update the record so that they could be taxed appropriately.
Working on that.
Yeah. I would also say, Bill, going back to the point you were making about two things. One is, I think it would be very difficult to even pay for the intervention of the public employee that would have to process that permit at $5, so
Mhm.
it would not be $5, right? It would be a lot more.
Right.
But also, I think just as importantly, maybe we should, if we're gonna be making recommendations on uses, we should look at what qualifies as a road and when they put them in per contract, because a lot of times we're just painting, you know, a little bit of blacktop on something. It's like, oh, here's your new road, and obviously it doesn't last. I mean,
And
that's
they should make
happened.
them for 80 pounds, 1,000 pounds.
Exactly, because the
Right.
expectation
Exactly,
is
that's-
there
yeah,
are gonna be
that's it.
semis on county
Mhm.
roads.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's the thing that I've never understood. Years ago, and I'm talking to someone that's been around a while, we took every cow path we could and called it a county road. And it was one of those things, maybe Kenny went back into a field.
Mhm.
He's the only person who used that. One load of gravel once every 10 years. And we got, because you would get paid based on how many passenger cars, so if you own a pickup truck, you're not participating in road tax. And how many miles of road we have. So the thought was, let's have all the roads we can get that we don't have to maintain, that are theoretically roads to nowhere, just go back, but we called them county roads and got money. Then we went the other route and saying, oh no, we're gonna shrink the number of county miles. And I don't know which way we went, but I have seen that total change over the years, that now we're, you know, but we do have standards. If you're gonna build a road, what it's gotta be. And, you know, that's one of the things with the water place out here south. When Clifford Smeltzer bought that, he bought a 30-foot easement through Dunning's Field, which they're coming out that driveway, with the idea he was going to do a subdivision back. Because back then, the standards was a 30-foot easement. Now it's a 50-foot. He bought a 30-foot, so he cannot use that as a road for a development to put back in there. This. Well, gentlemen, I think we have accomplished a lot. I have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, want to stay here all night, say good night. Thank you all.
We have anything next month?